Alright everyone, and so we have a major news to go over, and this is regarding Stranger Things because we are officially 1 month out from season 5 of volume 1 hitting Netflix, and it's obviously a big deal. But what is crazy about this, because especially with the big mic drop that just came out, and that is with the reported budget that Netflix spent to make the final season of Stranger Things, and this is big considering the fact how big this final season is going to be, especially as I said, this is a movie quality type of season, especially from the run times to how much they spend per episode, and that's all I'm going to talk about here in this video. And so I'm going to be breaking down all of the details for what we need to know and how this could impact streaming and our viewing, especially on all this as a whole as well. And so let's not waste any time. And so if you're new, then be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so I'm on any future videos. But now let's talk about this right now. And now, starting off with the fact, it's because Stranger Things Season 5 is gonna kick off marketing pretty soon, especially as they're doing the rewatch thing, and especially along with that, the real marketing campaign is gonna start off, especially with the press tour and with the cast doing interviews and all that stuff. But especially with this big article that came out, and I think this is definitely coming from Puck News on how much Netflix spent to make the final season of Stranger Things, aka season 5, and especially for what it says is that with Stranger Things season 5, with its total budget that cost around $480 million to make. And along with that, especially for how we take it into account, because as we do know that Stranger Things season 5 is gonna have a total of 8 episodes, and it's gonna feel like a whole movie, especially as the cast and everyone behind the scenes, and this season was shooting 8 big movies, and that seems to be the case because, and now with the budget for how much they spend per episode, they spend around nearly 50 to 60 million, and that's running up a total of 480 million. That's almost $500 million, which is an insane number to think about, especially with my take on this. And I don't think I am surprised by any of this, but even though I'm a little bit shocked about how much Netflix spent to make season 5 of Stranger Things, but you have to take it into account, and especially as we all knew how big this final season was going to be, and with all of the footage that we've gotten, and based on the budget that they're going for here, and that firmly believes to be the case, because especially with everyone behind the scenes has talked about how season 5 definitely feels bigger, and I firmly believe that. And especially if you count all the VFX shots, especially with the CGI vines, and especially when you look at this final season as a whole, there's definitely going to be a military presence all throughout Hawkins. People are already having so many complaints like, oh, Netflix has spent a ridiculous amount of money, why would they do this? But especially from what I think this is definitely well earned, especially on the Duffer Brothers' part, because they pour their blood, sweat, and tears into making the show great, especially for the fans, because now Stranger Things has become their biggest show ever, especially if you look at season 1 all the way up until now. And I mean, especially from the beginning of the show, it was definitely low budget, especially it had supernatural elements, but then when it got to season 4, but the show kept leveling up, especially with bringing in so much lore from the Upside Down. With everything that we've seen so far, the show kept getting more epic in scale, especially as it explored new things about how it also tie in, because we all have enjoyed the show so much, especially as fans. And then when it got to season 4, it is the best season of television ever, period. And especially towards the end of that season, and now stakes are raised so high because we're in the end game now, and especially for how we look at season 5 as a whole, it's definitely going to feel big. And even though what also came out is the runtimes for how long the episodes will be, especially in the total of 8 episodes, it will have runtimes that will be close to an hour and 30 to almost 2 hours. And yeah, they're not joking around here, because I believe whatever the shortest episode will come from season 5, I'm pretty sure we'll be ready for it. But yeah, this is crazy stuff to think about as well. And on top of for what we know, of course, that this final season is gonna expand on so much lore. This is gonna bring in everything that the show had never gotten a chance to explore, because especially this is going to be a Will Byers led season, and we're going to be exploring his time in the Upside Down, and especially with everything that's been going on behind the scenes, especially with everything that they filmed, especially involving green screen, especially in CGI, especially with the budget kept getting more big and becoming more and more expensive, especially it is going to be the second most expensive piece of television ever. But I think this is definitely a good thing, because especially, based on the behind the scenes stuff, especially as season 5 was definitely taking long to come out, because as they were filming throughout the course of an entire year. If you take all of that, especially with how much post-production that they gotta do, apply all the VFX and all the CGI galore, and especially with Vecna and the Upside Down. Plus, we're going to be exploring a lot of things, because especially with that budget alone, they can do anything that they want. And I can only imagine once we get into the later half of the final season, so much of the Upside Down lore is going to be revealed, like secrets and reveals, that us, the audience, and the viewer, it will blow our minds. And I think it's going to be so jaw-dropping just to witness that for the first time. But speaking of which, if you look at movies in general, especially with big franchises, and especially with Marvel and DC, they had a big budget movie, and especially with Avengers Endgame, that had a very similar budget, close to the final season of Stranger Things, and that movie became the highest grossing movie of that calendar year. And a big movie franchise that you can think of, but especially Stranger Things is now the biggest show ever, not just a Netflix show in general, but just the biggest show ever. And I think for once we get down to marketing and promotion, especially with all these different TV spots that we're going to get, I'm pretty sure it's truly definitely going to speak for itself. And I think the Duffer Brothers highly deserved earn that money, because especially, of course, they have to not only use it for set locations, but also for the CGI, the VFX, and also to pay the actors as well. But I'm pretty sure that, hey, this is going to be a big final season, and especially coming out around November, the Thanksgiving time period, and going into the holidays, people are definitely going to be tuning in, and especially with people that were really shocked by this news. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to be tuned in for it. No matter what, I'm pretty sure this won't turn people away from watching the final season, especially with that amount of money that they spent into crafting the final season. And this is pretty much the end game of Stranger Things that we are talking about here. And especially, of course, we're going to have long episode runtimes that are definitely going to feel like 8 feature-length movies. And I just do definitely think that so much is going to be explored, and everything has led up to this. And I'm pretty sure, I think I will be pretty satisfied once it definitely comes out. And especially people, everyone, the cast, the crew, behind the scenes, have all crafted this thing to perfection to make sure to deliver perfectly to the fans. This show will definitely stick the landing, and yeah, it's just crazy news to think about. But generally speaking, especially with this show that is generally costing $480 million, that's a crazy amount of money that Netflix would spend on this final season. But is that there's a lot of work that has to be done, and especially we don't get these types of shows often, especially if there are movie length episodes of television. Yeah, these things don't come around often, and I'm pretty sure this final season of Stranger Things will deliver, no matter what. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the final season of the show, and I can't wait until we get that official trailer. But especially with the budget that's been revealed, of the run times, yeah, it's glad that I got to know all this stuff as well. So yeah, even though I'm pretty shocked and surprised too. But that's gonna do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments down below, and what were your thoughts on the budget, especially with the reported runtimes, for how much Netflix spent on this final season, and just what are your predictions based on all this. And just let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to turn on notifications about future videos. Also follow all my social medias, all linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.